People like us traveling is actually making a big impact on how other people perceive Americans as well. Because if I'm the American who's traveling on a bicycle with 4 bags and I am going and sharing light experiences and listening to other people and hearing their stories and having reciprocal kindness, I am making actually the people will see me and go, "Wow, she's challenging my perception of what I see of Americans on television." And that's reciprocal,
Yeah.
right? And Americans who don't travel don't get to see these people in real life, and that's why I wrote this book, and vice versa. So our hope is that we are making that impact by
Mhm.
being travelers who are open and making connections with others, that they're learning from us just as much, right?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kristen Jokinen, originally from Bend, Oregon, currently in Bend, Oregon, and just at the moment in between our travels. I'm also the author of this book called Joyride, A Bike Odyssey from Alaska to Argentina by Kristen Jokinen. And I wrote this book after our very first bike tour from Bruto Bay, Alaska to Ushuaia, Argentina, a little over 18,000 miles over about a little less than 2 years. It took us to do this bike ride. And I wrote this book after a lot of giving back and speaking in schools along our journeys, trying to speak about kindness and connection and all those things that we bike tourists learn along our adventures. So I wrote this book a couple years ago, and I got to do a 50 stop US national tour speaking to people. And Warm Showers is definitely in this storytelling in this book because we've met so many incredible people along the way.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Ville Jokinen. I'm in the same place as she is currently. Like she said, 8 years and warm showers. And I'm originally from Finland.
Yeah, we believe that kindness connects us to our shared humanity. And we are very, very passionate about bike touring. We started 8 years ago, our very first bike ride, Alaska to Argentina, sold our house, and we've been living on the bike since. So we tour because we feel like we learn so much about people, cultures, places, things. We challenge ourselves, and at the most, we get to challenge what we think we know about ourselves, emotionally, mentally, and everything. It's not just physical, and making connections with people across the world. If you think you know what you know about something, by turn will challenge everything you think you know about that.
On our bike trip from Alaska to Argentina, and we were in Cuenca in Ecuador, and we approached this host on Warm Showers, and he accepted, and we stayed with him, and he had just a very simple basement room, 10 by 10, and we stayed on the floor with him. He was sleeping on the floor as well, and he was a refugee from Venezuela, and he was sort of stuck in Ecuador because he couldn't renew his passport. There was no diplomatic services there, and yeah, just sharing stories, and especially hearing his stories about the life as a refugee from a country, and yeah, like I said, being stuck in one country and just in a limbo. So just a very humbling experience, and we'll definitely not forget that one. Yeah. Yeah.
It was
It
amazing.
was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We shared meals. We just cooked together, and he was so positive too. Just incredibly positive fella. After that, we not too long ago, like a couple of days after that, we crossed to Peru, and I remember still at the border control, like realizing like that passport that we both have, how like that's the golden thing. Like we can go anywhere. His passport, it like he didn't have a
Yes.
passport at the moment. Even if he had Venezuelan passport, it's like the worst ticket to anywhere. Like
Yeah.
it's like you can go to these handful countries.
People like us traveling is actually making a big impact on how other people perceive Americans as well. Because if I'm the American who's traveling on a bicycle with 4 bags and I am going and sharing life experiences and listening to other people and hearing their stories and having reciprocal kindness, I am making actually the people will see me and go, "Wow, she's challenging my perception of what I see of Americans on television, and that's reciprocal,
Yeah.
right? And Americans who don't travel don't get to see these people in real life, and that's why I wrote this book, and vice versa. So our hope is that we are making that impact by
Mhm.
being travelers who are open and making connections with others, that they're learning from us just as much, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
especially like the story sharing too. Like not just like how we act, but the like the reality check of like, no, there is homelessness in US. It's not Hollywood. It's not like
yeah, everybody,
everybody lives in Beverly Hills and
yeah,
it's like that's a lot of people are like, "What?"
yeah, yeah. Especially like in Africa, when we were
Yeah.
spiking through Africa, I felt like so many people assumed we could one get them jobs in America, but also that everybody was rich. So food is a big challenge actually for a lot of touring cyclists. Those who branch out into we've been through the Americas all the way to the bottom of Argentina, and then recently through Africa, and in remote areas in between a lot of these places. And touring cyclists don't just go through the big cities where you could access a lot of food. So the food challenges for us, like even Alaska, huge distances where you're carrying a lot of food. I know a lot of touring cyclists, we have food allergies or, food restrictions. Those are super challenging on bike tours where some of these countries like Malawi, we were going through, it was, goat on the side of the road, and that's it. There is no other option. So being vegetarian may be very challenging. In South Africa, there was long stretches through farmland where we would get to a gas station, and that's where we had to resupply, and it was meat pies, and that's all they had. So, yeah, there are restrictions with food. You can't be picky. I many times was eating soup that I didn't know all the parts that I was eating in it, and was just like, well, it's good I'm not a picky eater. So, um, I think that's things you learn about yourself too in bike touring, and how to be resourceful and how to be creative because foods, yeah. Vila ate larva. Not gonna lie. He ate a larva in Peru, in the middle of the mountains. So yeah, you eat whatever you can get.
Yeah, the guests that we have, I think each one has inspired us some way of like, oh, you have to check that place. And it's always like you have like a bucket list and then you have guests or you meet or just meeting other cyclists and list just gets longer. You just, oh, I gotta go there. I gotta go there. Now that they told me how amazing it is. But I think one of the best things is with the host, they know the local areas, they know the best routes to their countries, to their areas. And in Africa, we were struggling to figure out the best routes and ended up staying with this warm shower host who had toured extensively in his own country. And he pretty much laid out for us the next 600 miles and until we were in Zimbabwe. So it was awesome and just a great route, safe, super scenic, and that's the best thing I think of like you just gotta pick their brain and they will know a lot more than internet will provide like or yeah.
So we became Warm Showers hosts after doing our 2-year very first bike tour from Alaska to Argentina. We briefly lived in Oregon and had houses and apartments in between our travels. And every time we do, we host as much as possible. And the reason is because these incredible experiences of reciprocal kindness that we get, and so much we get out of our experiences with Warm Showers hosts, we want to provide that to others. We feel like all that kindness to come to you, you need to share it. So we've really enjoyed being able to feed people and give them a shower and give them a place to do laundry. Also, show them around our local area if they want to learn about it. share stories, gear, tools, all the things necessary just to help them out along the way. And we also realize that we are part of that experience for them. They're doing a long tour and they're wanting to get things out of that, and we're able to provide just an experience or a connection, and we stay connected. We're a resource for them to reach out to later with other questions of different areas we've toured. Maybe we reach out to them other places that they have toured. So it's been an amazing experience to be able to be a host when we're able to host, and then to also have those experiences as touring cyclists when we travel along the way and make those connections with people. Highly, highly encourage people to use warm showers.